You might have seen photographs of ICE agents making arrests, rounding up criminals who are set for deportation, and some of them are wearing masks over their face. And it's not for the pandemic. No, it's to protect their identity because, well, their lives are in danger, of course. Well, this issue has become a major bugaboo for people on the left. The director of ICE was challenged about it at a press conference yesterday. He was already halfway out the room, and he came back to address that issue, and he brought the fire. You're going to see that in just a sec, but first, I want you to see a different part of the press conference where he sort of lays out exactly what these ICE agents have been doing in just the first few months of the Trump administration under Secretary Kristi Noem and under Tom Homan, our border czar.
Brave men and women of ICE, CBP, ATF, DEA, Diplomatic Security Service, and the U.S. Marshals have to go out and pick up some of the most horrible criminals that are roaming free in Massachusetts. These are just some of them. A child sex offender that was previously deported that was released by a local agency but was back living across the street from a playground. A sex trafficker that was arrested for raping a child that was re-released back into the community. A habitual drunk driver who, in the midst of his drunk driving, kidnapped a child. Theft from we had one person that was previously deported that was stealing from disabled senior citizens. Not only that, but they got several convicted murderers, rapists, spouse abusers, child abusers, and drug traffickers. You can see their mugshots, which are all up here on the photo. And I really want everyone to see that. Because not only did they enter our country illegally, but they were released back into our community by elected officials and sanctuary jurisdictions that did not want to turn these individuals over to ICE. I really want everyone to see their faces and know what's going on.
All right, so those are the arrests that our law enforcement at the federal level are finally allowed to make. During the Biden administration, these people were basically relegated to being paper and pencil pushers, filling out people's asylum forms and opening the door for them to just come right in and live their American dream. And of course, for many of them, the American dream involved heinous acts of terror on our soil, those crimes that were just laid out. And let's be clear here, Democrats right now are going to the mat. They've got one message with regard to criminal illegal aliens in this country, and that is we're here to protect them and their rights, to make sure they have their day in court and to make sure they don't get deported. That's the messaging that you're getting from the Democrats, from Chris Van Hollen, Kamala Harris, to Chuck Schumer, to Hakeem Jeffries, to Cory Booker, all the way down the line. And, of course, their friends in the media. You see, Democrats, leftists, people in the media, I'm talking about the elected official Democrats, not your Aunt Rosie who loves Democrats because she had a crush on JFK. No. I'm talking about the leaders, the people who hold power. They hear about those crimes. They see images of federal law enforcement officers arresting those heinous criminals, and they look at that picture and they think the problem is the officers. Why? Because they're wearing scarves around their face. Dean Obeidallah fashions himself as a former stand-up comedian and now political commentator. Insert your punchline here. He took this picture and said, why do so many so-called ICE agents have masks on? Wait, what do you mean so-called ICE agents? They're either ICE agents or they're not. What is that even supposed to mean? Why are they hiding their identity? Are they Proud Boys? Are you serious? Oh, yes, it's Trump's secret racist army. That's what it is. This needs to be banned by law. ICE works for us. We have the absolute right to know who they are. My article. Think about this. Think about knowing the kind of crimes, as you just heard laid out by acting ICE Director Lyons. You know what kind of criminals they have to confront and go face to face with. And your most motivating emotion, your most inspiring thought, knowing what our federal law enforcement agents are having to deal with, the thing that really lights your fire is that they're wearing a scarf across half of their face. Seriously. By the way, these are the people, of course, who would go to the mat to make sure that mask mandates were nationwide during the fake pandemic. But they've got a spokesperson in Nepo baby Representative Dan Goldman. He is outraged over the masks.
With the ICE agents. I was a federal prosecutor for 10 years right there. I worked with the Department of Homeland Security. I worked with ICE agents. I worked with Homeland Security's investigations. I have never seen any plainclothes officer wearing a mask. And I asked them, why are you wearing a mask? One person told me, because it's cold. I asked him if he would testify to that under oath, and he walked away and wouldn't respond to me. Another person admitted that they're wearing masks so that they are not caught on video. And my question to them is, if what you are doing is legitimate, is lawful, is totally above board, why do you need to cover your face? Law enforcement officers do not cover their face. And in fact, the Trump administration is cracking down on universities for allowing protesters to wear masks. So apparently it is not okay to wear a mask if you're protesting the government, but it is okay if you are the government to wear masks and in order to shield your face from the public.
He was in a television studio doubling down on this. See, Representative Goldman decides that he's got to grandstand now about the mess. He says he's a former U.S. attorney, which I guess he's telling the truth. He's got the resume to prove it. Does he not know the concept of undercover? Does he not know the concept of law enforcement agents doing their job and protecting their identity so they can continue to do their job without being recognized? Is that a new concept for you, Congressman Goldman? Do you not draw a distinction between Antifa covering their face so they can beat up innocent people and vandalize public property versus a law enforcement officer who is wearing a badge, which has a number and is easily identifiable, operating under the color of law? Really, Congressman? Well, apparently not.
And I asked them, I said to them, what is the point here? Are you just trying to tally more arrests? I didn't get any real response. And then I said to them, why are you wearing masks? I was a federal prosecutor for 10 years. I worked with ICE agents. I worked with law enforcement agents. I never saw any of them wear masks. This is brand new. And the question is, if everything is legitimate and proper, why are you wearing masks to hide your face?
So there's Representative Goldman of the Judiciary Committee, congressman from New York, undermining federal law enforcement officers, claiming that what they're doing is not legitimate. Of course, this is a guy who will run cover for James Comey and the Merrick Garland Justice Department when they pulled FISA warrants on innocent Americans under the color of Russian collusion, a full-on hoax, but he'll still defend their actions. We still don't have the names of all the FBI agents involved in that fiasco. But you're on the front lines having to go into the barrio and round up violent, murdering gang members from Venezuela because New York State has sanctuary laws and won't hand them over to you in the protection and safety of a jail. So you want to cover your face so the gangbangers don't come after you? Oh, you're the problem, according to Representative Dan Goldman. So yesterday at this press conference with acting ICE Director Lyons, after he left the podium detailing exactly the efforts that these ICE agents have been executing over the last couple of months, one of the reporters, smarmy little smartass, decided to shout out a question. Why are you wearing masks? Why are you wearing masks? And that's when acting director Lyons stopped in his tracks, did a 180, and came right back to that podium.
Why do they wear masks?
I'm going to answer the mask question. So, no, not the mask, the mask. So a lot of agencies were invited to come out 2 weeks ago in Los Angeles where we ran an operation where ICE officers were doxxed. So let's just say that again. People are out there taking photos of the names, their faces, and posting them online with death threats to their family and themselves. So I'm sorry if people are offended by them wearing masks, but I'm not going to let my officers and agents go out there and put their lives on the line and their family on the line because people don't like what immigration enforcement is. They are wearing those masks because we ran an operation with the Secret Service where we arrested someone that was going online, taking their photos, posting their families, their kids' Instagram, their kids' Facebooks, and targeting them. So let me ask, is that the issue here, that we're just upset about the masks? Or is anyone upset with the fact that ICE officers' families were labeled terrorist?
That was raw emotion. You heard his voice quivering there, and understandably. The question is not why are federal agents wearing masks to protect their identity as they're executing their duties, their lawful duties, under the color of law in incredibly highly dangerous, volatile, deadly scenarios. That's not the question. The question is, why does Representative Dan Goldman or Dean Obeidallah or this reporter who screamed out the question, why are you so insistent that you know the identity of every officer? Why do you want their faces exposed? Why do you want them put in danger? That's the real question here. Border Czar Tom Homan was asked about this the other day in front of the White House, and he was equally emotional.
The assaults on ICE officers are high. The doxing of ICE officers are at an all-time high. And people always complain, some of you here say, why are they wearing masks? So they're trying to protect themselves and their families. They got a dangerous job to do, and they're being doxed every day across this country. I've experienced myself 100 times, but I'm willing to take that because of the position I hold. And, we're not running a popularity contest. We're trying to enforce the laws enacted by Congress, doing it in a smart, effective way. So, yeah, their assaults are up, but it won't be tolerated. We've already shown you put a hands on an ICE officer, you can be prosecuted to the highest extent of the law. So we're not playing with that with any threats against ICE officers. Doxing, we're going to look at doxing. We're going to take action on that also.
That's right. How many people need to be doxxed? How many people need to be swatted? How many people need to be put in danger? And you've got the organized left here with their little mouthpiece, Dan Goldman, with all his Levi Strauss fortune that he's sitting on. So he doesn't have to worry about actually lifting his finger and doing another day of work in his entire life. He decides he wants to be a member of Congress as a hobby. He's a dilettante. He's, I'm bored. I think I'll run for Congress. I've got Levi money. He becomes their spokesperson. He becomes their mouthpiece to do the work of Antifa, to try to target these federal law enforcement officers who just want to do their job, and they're finally able to do it. Listen, you don't like the fact that they're wearing masks as they go into the barrio and have to round up criminal, illegal alien gang members from Venezuela? I've got an idea. Lift all your bogus bullshit sanctuary policies and let the NYPD or the Chicago Police Department hand over these thugs in the safety of a county jail. But no, you got to release them out onto the street and create this dangerous situation. And then you've got Bill Kristol, a man who's never had to face any danger like a cop in his entire life, sitting in the comfort of an air-conditioned CNN panel show, taking swipes at ICE agents for wanting to protect themselves and their family as they're doing the dirty work that you, Bill, would refuse to do. You, Bill, don't even think this dirty work needs to be done because you live in a nice, safe community. You don't have to worry about the illegal immigrant criminal element. In fact, Bill Kristol, you think that it's a good thing to import labor because, people like you don't want to get your fingernails dirty with those kind of menial jobs. Aren't there other people from third world countries to do that work for me? All right, so here's Bill Kristol going to the mat here and attacking law enforcement officials so that he can keep his gardener.
To say, you know what, I don't have to show up for my court order.
I mean, it's pathetic to pretend that, we're so concerned about their safety, they have to wear masks. I grew up in New York City, 40,000 cops, extremely dangerous circumstances. None of them wear masks except in extremely rare occasions when they were going after some gang leader who might have relatives who go after them. If they didn't, ICE agents have functioned in this country, they didn't wear masks. They shouldn't wear masks. It's total nonsense. And it's for intimidation. It's not really for their protection. It's ridiculous.
Hey, listen, moron, you just conceded the point yourself. Oh, well, I guess they did wear masks when they were going after mobsters. Who the hell do you think they're going after now, pal? And Bill, when you were growing up in New York City, there were 3 television networks. And everyone had a wired phone in their home where they would say, get me Klondike 4768. Nowadays, Bill, It's a little different than New York City circa 1965. Everybody's got a smartphone in their pocket with a high-definition video camera that they can live stream to the entire universe while those arrests are being made. And it means every single one of those cops are putting their lives and their families' lives in danger when they go do the job that you refuse to do and you refuse to have your children do as well. Yeah, I'm done with you, pal. You want to see what these cops are having to endure? Here, take a look at this guy who wants to go viral, so let's help him. He was in Martha's Vineyard as ICE agents were coming in and rounding up criminal illegal aliens who aren't there. You know, the people who cut their grass and wash their dishes. Well, he decided to confront the cops. Take a look at what happened.
Why?
Yeah.
Because I'm fucking enraged that you're fucking mask wearing ass.
Okay.
That's why I'm.
Sir.
That's why I'm shaking.
So, sir, I'll have a conversation with you. You talk. Let me have a conversation. So that's fine. You know, do what you got to do, record all that stuff. But here's your official warning. Okay, we have the FBI with us. If you impede in any way, shape, or form, you are going to be arrested and taken into federal custody.
Thank you. Here's your official warning. If you trespass against my rights, I will not comply with you. I will not resist with you.
Okay.
I will take offensive with you.
Okay.
That's your warning.
Okay.
I know what my rights are, and if you break them, be forewarned that I will do what I need to do to protect myself.
Okay.
Okay? Good.
That was all.
Why do you wear the mask? Why can't you answer that question? Huh? I mean, I don't understand why you don't answer the question. I mean, fucking pussy, dude. Pussy.
And that's what your federal law enforcement officers are having to deal with every single day as they go out there. And then they got this smart ass Dan Goldman, congressman from New York, or even worse, Bill Kristol, undermining their ability to effectively keep this country safe and actually carry out the laws of this land while still protecting their wives and their children. No matter how low you think these people are, they will continue to go lower. But thank God for those agents. Thank God for Tom Homan. Thank God for Director Lyons, Secretary Noem, and for President Trump for actually trying to get this country safe again. It's only been a few months. They're already making great inroads. And yeah, do I like the fact that cops have to hide their face? I hate it. I think it's terrible. But they have to do this. And if you're questioning them, if you're wondering why they aren't exposing their face, if you're demanding that the cops show who they are as they are in these highly dangerous situations, knowing that they're dealing with organized crime and gang members who wield machetes in this country because Biden and Mayorkas and Kamala Harris let them in to have their reign of terror. If your big concern when you look at those conditions is you want the cops' faces to be exposed, you've got something very wrong with your broken moral compass.